Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And we've been discussing the battle for 10th National Assembly leadership with a member of House of Representatives representing Wonu Raba Federal Constituency of Sokoto State, Honorable Ibrahim Al-Mustapha Aliyu. All right, with all of these analyses and the kinds of contenders we've seen so far, what do you think the APC should do to ensure that this contest does not lead to divisions in the party and the country?
You see, talk about the leaders and the party engaging into serious consultations and meetings, so that they'll be able to arrive at a fairly acceptable, zoning. Because of course, when under this circumstance, it's a very difficult decision, but sometimes, hard and difficult decision must be taken for equity, stability, and balance. So consultation should be intensified, and all those aspirants should also be consulted, and I'm sure the incoming president and the leadership of the party are doing that. At the end of the day, it will surprise you to see a seamless process of, having the presiding officers in place. It's not going to be challenging at all. We believe the capacity and competence of Mr. President-elect. We believe the party also is doing its best to ensure that only those that will promote the manifestos, the ideals of the party, are put in place wherever. So that's what the party should concentrate in doing: consultation, give and take, and agreements. I believe they are working on that, and a very positive result is expected from their effort.
All right. In that regard, what do you think, or rather, what role or impact do you think the president-elect should play in all these?
He has been the leader of APC even before now. He knows each and every one of us, either directly or through our principals or our various leaders. So he has the profile of each and every person, and I believe whoever he called and talked to him will listen to him, because the whole agitation is about national development, not personal development. And I believe the incoming president, have commenced that already.
Think the president-elect should take a stance?
Yes, of course. At a time, he's expected to do so, but not without consultations. And I believe he is making consultations, because each and every member of the National Assembly from APC is by extension his son, is dear to him. And he believes each and everyone shares the same vision of moving the country forward and, consolidating the modest achievement and improving even further on what we have in place. So him coming out to microphone to a particular individual will not be out of place, and it will down the tension, and we'll have a headway. As I've told you, whatever the decision of the leadership and the party, is what we are working to adhere to, so that we'll not have a divided house up in issue. There are so many issues associated with having a divided house in the first place, because there are so many beautiful policies that you find very difficult to achieve when you have a divided house. And there could be also issues of agitations, of change of leadership, and this and that. So that is what we are working hard to avoid, and I believe the president-elect, the incoming president, and the leadership of the party will not allow that.
So, Honorable Aliyu, for the senators and rep members vying for these positions, how best do you think they should handle this amongst themselves?
The first and foremost consideration should be the consideration for nation building and national development. I'm sure their aspirations is not a personal aspiration geared towards their own personal development. So once there is a common goal, common objective, I think coming together to agree is not an issue. There should be approachment from aspirants from within among themselves, so that they can be able to, simplify the task, on our leaders. I believe some of the aspirants have already started doing so, and even among themselves, they know a particular aspirant A is more versatile, is more maybe experienced than myself. So they can easily give in so that they can continue to learn. Only one person becomes the speaker and the deputy speaker at a time. So going forward, there may be speakers too. You have to support somebody to be supported also, maybe in the near future. So there should be this approachment and reapproachment, alignment among the aspirants, because the common goal is national development, not personal development.
All right. So let's talk about party representation at the National Assembly after the conclusion of the elections. How will you describe it?
Well, it's a very beautiful scenario, because you see, of course, we have wanted to win all the seats as APC. But the beauty of democracy is that you allow people, to make their choice, and people do so. Now we have about more than half of, or close to half of the seat of the House of Representatives won by the APC, and about 112 by the PDP, followed by the LP, NMPP, and then other parties. That gives you the confidence that, yes, the democracy in Nigeria has come to stay, and that Nigerians are free to make their choice on who represent them. And this is a very beautiful scenario. And I believe most of those elected are people of caliber that can differentiate between sentiment and nation building. So, all right, getting to work together, getting on board to work together will not be a difficult issue. From what the experience we're having in this joint assembly, joint task 10 assembly group.
So, Honorable Aliyu, I asked that question because, this is the first time that opposition parties won majority of seats in the House of Representatives. How do you think this will impact the country's democracy?
Well, you see, when you sum up and say minority seats, those minority seats were won by about 6 political parties. And each political party there has its manifestos and objective. So by the time now you fragment them, you realize that the majority seats were won by the APC, and that's the fact. One solid 179 seats also by the ruling APC, as against 111 or 12 from PDP and the LP 30-something. So the issue here is it will be very difficult for the opposition parties, the minority parties, to come together and say, okay, now they have reached an agreement against the norms, the established norms, to produce maybe a presiding officer. No, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult because there are like minds and there are affiliations that surpasses the party affiliation. There are, people naturally that identify character, that identify experience, that identify competence. So they easily go for it.
All right. Honorable Aliyu, you say it is very difficult, but the opposition caucus keeps threatening to beat the APC to the position of the Speaker of House of Representatives, as they have 182 seats, which is more than the statutory benchmark of 181. How worried is the APC about this?
As I've said, there are those political parties in the minority that are at variance in terms of objectives and manifestos and can hardly come into agreement together. But I believe they can join us in the APC, who are in the majority, to move the nation forward, because we already have a president that will soon be inaugurated in coming May 29th. So the issue here is who has the upper hand?
Honorable Aliyu, my question is, are you worried as a party?
You see, we are not worried as a party because we are in the majority. And I'm free to tell you this, that there are so many opposition members elect that are aligned to our objective. And of course, anybody can call meeting to push for either his personal or collective interest. What we are saying, the National Assembly as it is for everybody, both of us in the APC and the other minority party. We can't do without the minority members' House of Representatives, certainly. So there's going to be reach out consultations, alignment, which is ongoing. And I believe at the end of the day, this will come to pass. The objective for those minority groups is to be able to, push for a better deal, of course.
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong. So are you saying that your party is relying on the disunity of the opposition parties?
They are disunited ab initio because they have come together under either PDP, Labour, or NNPP. But they choose to take their different ways, and they are able to arrive at a position. They are elected differently as members from different party affiliations, whereas 178 or 179 were elected under a single platform, APC. So now, which APC member now will go to support any of the speakership aspirant filled by the opposition? I believe even them, they will not do that, because there are people of conscience in the opposition party that believe that there is an establishment that is a global practice under a stable democratic system, that each party that were in the majority produces the presiding officers or preside over the assembly. So I don't think we should do something different. We'll never allow that to happen. That will never happen in the 10th Assembly. All
right. So with more political parties like the Labour Party, NNPP, ADC, APGA, and others represented in the 10th National Assembly, what should Nigerians expect from them?
A robust National Assembly where national development will be discussed, x-rayed, and passed, where debates will be objective, criticism also will be objective, and then we have a deepened democracy that will be appreciated by all, and then we have a shift in our bar in the international record. So that's the beauty. I say it's very interesting, and it creates an interesting scenario when you have this variance, different members from different parties. It adds color to the assembly. So I expect a robust interactions between the members in the assembly, and of course, a very cogent development coming out of it.
All right.
In support of beautiful programs and the policies of the APC-led government by incoming President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right. I'm sure Nigerians are waiting for that. So, it's 24 days to the inauguration of a new government. What key areas do you think should be of primary concern to the president-elect to turn around the fortunes of Nigeria?
Very important. You see, I believe the president is concerned by the security situation in the country. I believe that will be his topmost priority, to see to the root of the problem and devise means and ways of nipping it in the bud. And then the issue of economy itself, people are concerned. The president, I believe, have programs that will change the economy, short-term, long-term, and also medium-term that will reflect and raise the purchasing power of Nigerians and change the whole economy to a more viable economy. And third, of course, it's related to economic development. It's agriculture, which is our mainstay. We should diversify much on from oil and emphasize on agriculture. I believe Mr. President had this in mind. I could recall in 2015 when he went to Sokoto and he was raising an issue on farming, poultry farming. He said, look at the price of milk in the market compared to the price of PMS. It's higher. Looking into that aspect alone, only God knows how much fortunes will come to the country. You also give an example of egg. Given an example of how if each and every student in the pupil in primary school should eat 1 egg per day, how much is the price of egg? And then multiply by the number of pupils in schools in Nigeria. So you see,
Honorable Aliyu, to add to that,
I'm sure the president.
All right. So to add to that, the president-elect has promised to focus on unity of the country. How do you think he needs to carry on with this?
Yesterday and day before yesterday, Mr. President was in Rivers State to commission projects by a PDP-led government of Nyesowuke. That's already building bridges. I believe the unity of the country, as said by the president, is non-negotiable. Nigerians should learn to understand each other and respect each other, respect our differences, and learn to live together. Mr. President knows the best he can bring on board that can help him and assist him to achieve this easily. The priority is building a Nigeria that each and every one of us will be proud of, a Nigeria that will lead, not only in the West African sub-region, but it will lead Africa in terms of development and in terms of a stable democratic governance.
All right, so this is for Nigerians now. How will you advise Nigerians to come together for the needed cohesion to move the country forward?
Nigerians should set aside all agitations. Some of the agitations are very injurious to our collective coexistence. We should answer our names Nigerians first. There should be that nationalism. And I think government in this area should focus on, building those, bridges and coming up with programs and policies that will further create that nationalism and patriotism in us. This should be taken very serious. In fact, even if it means coming up with some legislative.
I'm sorry, we need to go, but before I let you go, now, yeah, on a personal note, are you interested in contesting for the speakership position?
You see, apart from me, I believe maybe at the end of the day, when the party leader decided on where the speakership should come, there could be additional aspirants. But for me, you see, I've not even started any consultation toward that, because there are those that comes out now to aspire for the positions that I believe represent my interest and objective. But I'm waiting for the leadership to take decision, and we queue.
Oh, okay. You have a candidate that represents your interest and position. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what I'm saying, you see, all the candidates, all the aspirants, because they are not yet candidates, all the aspirants for the speakership, I believe their objective is national development, to achieve a unified house,
all right,
to have a stable system in place to support Mr. President. And that's what my objective.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable. I've been speaking with a member of House of Representatives representing Wono Raba Federal Constituency of Sokoto State, Honorable Ibrahim Al-Mustapha Aliyu. Tonight we discussed the battle for 10th National Assembly leadership. I must say a very big thank you to you, Honorable, for coming on the program tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ijiwoki.
Thank you. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. See you on Monday.